Are you longing to feel connected and not so alone? Longing to be happy and more alive? Badass Counseling is excited to announce the creation of Community Plus, a subscription-based private group of folks just wanting to more closely share their soul journey together with like-minded folks and with me, Sven. For a monthly fee, you'll get bi-monthly live Q&As with me, Sven, giving you a better chance of getting your own questions answered. A private community feed for you to post pictures, successes, struggles, joys, even the occasional cat picture, creating greater connection and help for healing and growth. Random drawings for free small group sessions and drawings for private coaching sessions with me. Priority access to becoming a guest on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Unlimited access to my DIY video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. And so much more. Community Plus is for people serious about their soul journey who want real growth, real help, real laughter, real connection, and true community. Join us now at badasscounseling.com.
Hi, it's Rob here with a look behind the scenes. It's Badass Overtime, giving you a chance to listen in to Sven's conversation with his guests after the show.
Dot, it's great to have you back. Thanks for sticking around after the show.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So what's going on inside you? It sort of took you through the ringer today. What's going on inside you?
I've just got more work to do ahead of me. But I'm actually feeling somewhat excited to kind of start to figure out who's under all of that. It's just scary, it's deconstructing everything I already thought and felt, and
what's the scariest?
Everything I was taught is wrong.
What's the scariest part?
I think that my current life would be different. Like, if I change, then my current partner won't love me anymore, or
right. But the truth is, if you change into your authentic self, you're changing into a version of you where everything is chosen by you. Your authentic self is not anything that you dislike. Your authentic self is actually hand in glove. It is literally your highest, happiest self. Okay? So if someone doesn't want you for that, then you have the choice of either I'm going to be my authentic self or I'm going to be who they want me to be because I'm afraid of being alone. But here's what happens, kiddo. Once you become your authentic self, you're no longer afraid of being alone. See, part of what's so scary about being alone is all those voices come rising up inside of me. See, I'm no good. See, I'm a loser. See, nobody wants me. And so that's why we hang on to somebody, because as long as they're here, then I have a living, breathing counter message to all those messages that stepmom and mom and dad put into me. But once they leave, that person leaves, then all those messages come roaring up and churn in your head. But we're getting those messages out by you finally standing up and looking at the truth and getting out your real feelings. Now you're no longer have those voices inside of you. The more you do this, I guarantee it. I literally guarantee that if you get these voices out, everything will change and you won't be afraid of someone leaving you. I know that sounds insane to you.
It's just hard to see, that I'm procrastinating because I'm scared, because my mind's like, oh, you're just lazy and you're just putting it off and we'll do it later, but I'm not actually sitting down and doing the work.
Right. It's fear. It's fear. It's terror.
Fear.
Yeah. But I tell you what, don't feel bad, because the truth is that you are literally every single one of my clients. Literally every single one. I have had war veterans. I've had special forces. I've had police. I've had fire. I've had, people in every profession. And this is the scariest thing of their life. It's to face the stuff they've been running from their whole life. You are not alone, young lady. And furthermore, what you have working in your favor is that you are so young. Do you know how many clients I have who say, God, I wish I would have done this in my 30s. God dang, why
I feel like I've wasted so much of my life with this. I didn't have a childhood. I didn't have a teen year. I didn't get to go to prom. I didn't, have my 20s were just spent in crisis in and out of hospitals. And
that's right. And that is literally, that is the exact same language, the exact same lament of every single one of my clients. Fuck, I feel like I've wasted so much time. I literally just today had a 54-year-old client. Sven, what the fuck? I feel like I've been on this fucking wretched autopilot for the last, 45 years since I was 9, whatever. And I say, yeah, but if you live to your 90, fuck, you got 40 years left, roughly. 40 years.
Autopilot is the word that constantly comes up for me. I just feel like I'm just going through the motions.
That's right. Until you have the courage to begin to face the truth. And by you facing the truth, the underlying message that you are sending to life is, I'm not afraid anymore. The underlying message you are shouting to the heavens is, I matter and I'm not afraid. I am afraid and I'm going to do it anyway because I matter. My happiness matters. And every time you choose that and go into your journaling and go in further, deeper inside yourself into that vault, the more you do that, the more you will come alive because you are finally affirming yourself rather than always wanting someone else to affirm you. And that's when everything starts to change. You're going to do it now, kid. You are. You're going to do this, and just bit by bit. You don't have to kill yourself at first, just bit by bit. And yes, the fears are going to come. Journal those out too. I'm so afraid of my lover leaving me. I'm so afraid of being alone again, blah, 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 blah. But Sven, the fucking asshole, bald fuck, he thinks it's going to work fine. I'll keep doing it, blah, 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 blah. Just flush out everything. You have an extraordinary life ahead. I guarantee it. I literally guarantee it. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you start doing this work, the legit shit, going into the legit shit, and the book, and doing the exercise in the book in writing, and if you don't get movement, like serious fucking movement, like in the next few months, I want you to write back into the show. I will bring you back on this fucking show if you can legitimately say, fuck, I'm not getting movement. But if you're getting movement, then the other side of that is this. If you are getting movement, then what you got to do is write in and say, I'm getting fucking movement and I'm fucking bearing down. It's like when you're going to the gym, I finally lost those 7 pounds and now I'm seeing my, some ab muscles. Well, that's not the time you quit. That's the time you get doubled down. It's like, fuck yeah, now I want to do more. You got momentum. But you got to begin, kid. You got to begin. And you got to be willing to face the ugliest shit. Dad was a fucking coward. Mom was a drunk who chose the bottle over me. My stepmom was a fucking whore. And, and it's time, and you have been alone the whole time, but now it's time to find yourself. Nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And it sucks, and it's ugly, and it's hard as fuck. And I have been to the suicide point, just like you, all right? But I also know there's life on the other side. So the question you have to ask yourself, ultimately, this is the question life is whispering in your ear every night, in the middle of the night, when you get up to go to the bathroom. Every day when you're on your drive to work. Every evening when you're chopping the carrots to put in the soup. Life is whispering 2 questions in your ear. Who the fuck are you really? And do you have the balls to be who the fuck you really are? No, and you say you don't know. And you think you don't know, but what you do know is what you're not. And all this shit, all this pain inside you do know what you got to face. And you start there. Do you have the courage to face the shit? And your authentic self will bubble up. And the more you get this shit out of you, your authentic self will bubble up. I guarantee it. I want to thank you for being on the show.
Deal with dishonoring somebody who's passed away by that.
What does that have to do with anything? If they dishonored you in your life, your father sent a small child to eat bullets that he should have been eating. There's no honor in that. You don't owe him anything. What you owe that child, what you owe yourself is truth. Just look at the truth. That's all. Yeah. He said, your father said, judge a man by his actions. All right. Give yourself permission to do that. And you know what's on the other side? If you truly have the courage to let out all the feelings of hate and betrayal and anger, if you truly have the courage to flush it all out, what's on the other side is a peace that passes all understanding. There is a peace that you can't see yet, and it will come in its own form. It's not hate for the rest of your life. You will see the good in him again. But you have to give yourself to see the fucking ugly, rotted part of him that did that to a child. You have to, or you will never be free, because then you're choosing to honor the man over the child, and you're just committing the same crime he did.
Yeah.
So he didn't defend that little child, so you have to now. You have to. Any final questions for me, Dot? Go ahead if you have one.
I did want to ask you what you feel is the most important thing that got you through suicide ideation, if that's not too intense.
No, it's not. First of all, if you were going to kill yourself, how would you do it? I like to ask people. Mine was slit my wrist. What was yours?
Slitting my wrist or asphyxiation with a car.
That's
like
a nice
exhaust.
Yeah, that would be a nice way to go, I think. And I tell you asked me what got me through. The only thing that ever gets you through is going in. I always tell people, if you never remember a single fucking word coming out of my stupid pie hole, remember this one thing. The path to happiness is just to flush out all the crud. It's to go in and flush out all the raw sewage. All you have to do is identify anything that hurts and journal the fuck out of it and write letters. Just keep identifying those things in your life that feel yucky.
And you don't struggle with those thoughts anymore?
No, not at all. None. What happened was for about 12...
It's really nice to hear.
Oh, no, for sure, kid. Let me tell you, when the suicide, for years, I thought about, it started as I'd think about it maybe once a year. It just came out of nowhere when time was really hard. And times got worse, career-wise, family-wise, with regard to my kids, with regard to my love life. And then it increased a couple times a year. Then it increased over time, a couple times a month. Then it increased to a couple times a week. Then it increased a couple times a day. And then it increased to multiple times a day when it's getting towards its most intense point. And then about 25 years ago-ish, I parked my car at the foot of the Berkeley Pier in California and opened up my wrist while playing Dave Matthews on the radio. I bled for about an hour, and I still didn't die. And I realized in that moment, I don't want to die. And my grand realization was no grand realization at all. And the grand realization was, I'm going to have to choose differently. That was the grand realization. That was it. And it didn't all go away right away, but I began to choose differently. And what I did was I committed, as I had been doing, but there was just too much. I committed to just flushing out all the crud and to keep flushing, keep journaling the fuck out of shit and and the more, and you know what happened? Before long, the more I'm flushing, it was the flushing out of the shit that it went from being many times a day thinking about it to once a day thinking about suicide to once a week. The more I'm flushing out the shit, just flushing it out and, just following the paths that gave some life to me, that gave me energy, whatever it might be. People thought I was crazy. I didn't give a fuck. And then it became once a month where I thought about it. Then maybe I'd think about it once every 6 months, maybe. And to the point where I literally have not thought about killing myself in 20 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
it's good to hear because I believe it's possible, but hearing it from somebody that's also been through it. Yeah. I work in an inpatient psychiatric unit. So,
oh my. Okay.
Yeah. I work with suicidal people all the time because I get it. And sometimes it's hard for me to support them because I still struggle with it, And
I'll tell you, it's not possible. It's likely. It's probable. It's going to happen. You are literally in control of this. This is not something happening to you from some external force anymore. You literally have the power to get it out of you. It just takes the courage to go into it. I'm telling you as fact, Dot. I'm telling you. Just do the work. I guarantee it. Just do the fucking work. And if you find it's not working, you right back in. We'll get you back the fuck on here. Just do the fucking work. All right?
Okay.
You've been awesome. You have been awesome, Dot. If you do the work, then you're not coping anymore. Then you're actually healing, and that's when everything changes. I loved having you on. This was a really great conversation, especially this part here at the end where we got raw about suicide. I'm glad you opened up that conversation.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, you guys. I really appreciate all of you and the work you do.
Well, we appreciate
Saved
you.
my life.
Well, good. Now let's turn that life from surviving to thriving. What do you say?
Yes, please.
All right.
I'm ready.
I love it. Thanks for being on the show, Dot.
Thank you, Sven.
You bet.
That's it. Join us for new counseling episodes every Thursday and lightning rounds every Sunday.
Thanks for listening to Badass Overtime. Now go out and slay some demons and have a kick-ass day.